What's up, world? It's your guy, Guitar K, and I'm about to tell you something that you probably didn't know, man. It's nothing wrong with being single. And there's nothing wrong with being in a relationship. It's nothing wrong with being married. But society has made it seem like it's a curse to be single. And so many times, people get in the wrong relationship just for the sake of being in a relationship. You're in a rush. We know that haste makes waste. Look, it's nothing wrong with being alone. Don't get in a relationship just so that you're not alone. That is not a good reason to hop into a relationship. Like I said in my last video, if you feel like every time you're by yourself, you're lonely and miserable, then you're probably in bad company. And if you can't entertain yourself, you're probably not going to be at no good at entertaining someone else. You need to learn to be okay with yourself. You need to learn to love yourself before you learn to love someone else. Look, man, in this video, I'm going to go over 10 reasons to stay single. And once again, let me reiterate, I'm not knocking relationships. I'm not knocking marriage. I'm just pointing out that there's nothing wrong with being single and that it's no reason to rush to get in a relationship. We know what happens when you go grocery shopping when you're hungry. You make bad decisions. You settle. And the same thing happens when you're desperate and you hop into wrong relationships. You know, you're on the rebound. And I say this because I am guilty of this. My girlfriend passed away a couple years ago. And over these last 2 years, I tried dating twice. And it just didn't work out because I haven't taken the time, for one, to heal from her passing away, nor to just rediscover myself, to find out what I really want out of life, what I really like again. You know, you got to discover what your purpose is, what your passion is. You got to figure out what it is you want for yourself before you go jumping into a relationship. You remember when we was young, they had that toy, you know, where you put the pegs in, you know, like the square into the square and the circle and into the circle. Yeah, sometimes relationships is like that. You got to make it fit. You can't force it. You can't be a square trying to put yourself in a relationship with a circle. But so many times we'll try it. And I mean to the point where we will file ourselves down into a square when we're nowhere a circle and force ourselves into that relationship. And then when we do finally force our way in there, we're all in there, we don't fit, we're clumping around, we're wondering why we're miserable and we're depressed and we're anxious. It's because we never meant to be in that relationship in the first place. But look, you know I like to go to definitions and everything. We're going to look up the definition of lonely. It says, does single mean lonely? It says we as a society need to stop putting so much pressure on people to be in relationships and let people decide for themselves how they want to live their life and who they want to give their time to. Being single does not automatically mean the person is lonely. And no, my life is not incomplete without a partner. Ding, ding, ding. What is the concept of single? Singlehood is often defined as the state of being unmarried. However, since it is common for people to be in a romantic partnership yet not married, this term also applies to the condition of having no romantic partner at all. There may be assumptions out there that to be single means to be unhappy. Assumptions. And we know what happens when you assume. You make an ass out of you and everyone else. Don't assume that just because you're not in a relationship, that automatically means that you have to be unhappy. I already talked about happiness and joy. You know, happiness comes from the outside, joy. You know, you don't need to be in a relationship to be happy. First of all, unhappiness plus anything else, you're still going to be unhappy. A relationship is not to make you happy. A relationship may enhance your happiness if you're happy already. But if you're coming to a relationship and you're unhappy, you're going to still be unhappy when you get in said relationship. My point is that you need to be happy already before you even think about getting a relationship. I think that's the problem that we make. We think that a relationship is to make us happy, to make us whole. That's why you could be, when you're unhappy and you're unwhole, you may be the toxic half of a toxic relationship where you just jump out there expecting people to fix you and make you better. That's not how it works. You need to be fixed and ready before you just jump into a relationship, man. That's why I said it's nothing wrong with being single. It's not a curse. Matter of fact, you are the cursed part of the relationship if you just jump out there when you're not ready, man. Like I said, you got to be ready. When you're single, it's a blessing because you can find your purpose. You can find your passions. You can discover yourself. That way, you can be the best possible version of yourself, and you'll find someone else who is the best possible version of themselves, and then you can have the best possible relationship that y'all can have. Now, is it going to be perfect? No, nothing is. But you got a better chance of it being the best version of itself when both of y'all are the best versions of yourself. We don't need any of these rebound relationships, any of these toxic relationships that we see so much of today. I read a book called Relationship Goals by Pastor Michael Todd of Transformation Church. I watched a lot of his videos on YouTube. Brother got a lot of good insight. But I'm going to read this one little section of it right here. It says, single, not alone. When many people think of being single, they think of being alone. But those two things are not the same. Being single is simply not having a romantic partner right now. The word alone, sounding like loneliness, suggests someone who lacks company or solidarity. It describes someone who has no friends, someone who feels left out. You may be single, but you are not alone. And I'm not saying that just because it's a good Michael Jackson lyric. You are not alone. My bad. I went somewhere else with it. You are not alone. A lot of the single people that I know, and that I know too, have more active friendships than the people who are tied up in a serious dating relationship, engagement, or marriage. You have great friendship potential too. Most importantly, even if no other person is with you at the moment, God is with you. He promises. And this comes from Hebrews 13:5. I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. Yeah, so when you're single, man, you can get closer to God. But like he said in there, you have potential to meet friends. You know, when you get in a relationship, and I have been guilty of this myself, when you get in a relationship, you start to push your real, true friends away. I have been guilty of that so many times. But we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here. 10 reasons to stay single. The first one, I have more time and I can use my time the way that I want. This is one of the top reasons why. You know, when you get in a relationship, man, you're going to sacrifice some time. You're going to sacrifice some energy. Some of that time and energy might be exactly what you need to build yourself up. That's why I said, if you're not already where you want to be in life and you're single, that is a perfect opportunity to start reaching your goals, to start doing things that is meaningful to you, to start embracing your passions and your purpose. Because once you get in a relationship, it's going to take some of your time. It's going to take some of your energy. I mean, in order to have a relationship, a good one at least, it's going to take away some of your time and energy. That only makes sense. So one of the number one reasons that it's good to stay single, if you already are, like I said, I'm not knocking marriages and I'm not knocking relationships. If you are in one, this is definitely not a video saying break up with your girl or get a divorce. Unless, I mean, it's not working out too well. But that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother thing. Like I said, this video is about that being single is not a curse. So there you have it. You have more time. You have more focus. Again, you can focus on yourself. You can focus on bettering yourself, becoming the best version of yourself. Again, when you are in a relationship, you're going to focus some of that time and energy into your partner. I am in charge of me. You run the show. You go where you want to go. You do what you want to do. When you're in a relationship, that kind of gets split down the middle. I am not getting hurt. I mean, your feelings get involved with that other person. When they're sad, you get kind of sad. That's just a fact of a relationship, any good relationship. I'm steady. That means you're steady with your own ups and downs. When you're in a relationship, whatever ups and downs they go through, you're going to go through them too. That's just a fact. I'm calm, and when angry, only according to my emotions. Yeah, when you're in a relationship, your partner's emotions is going to affect your emotions. I mean, I can barely keep my emotions in check just for me. And when I was in a relationship, you know, my girl emotions does affect my emotions. But right now that I'm single, I'm doing better with my emotions because I only have mine to tend to. I can see whomever I want. There you go. You know, you're single, you're ready to mingle. That speaks for itself. I can use my resources as I want. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, you know, I know that sharing is caring and all of that, but right now when you're single, man, you can spend it all on yourself. You can invest it how you see fit. You can save for a rainy day and you don't have to share the bank book with nobody else. You don't have to. That speaks for itself. I think that should be at the top of the list right there. All the money is your money. Because you know, when you get in a relationship, it's no longer just your money. I mean, come on. It becomes our money the day you get in a relationship. So there you have it. You can use your resources as you see fit. I am excused from undesirable activities. Yeah, you know, you might not want to go to your girl's family cookout. It might be some people there that you don't want to be around. So you don't have to go places that you really don't want to go. You know, when in a relationship, you have to make those sacrifices. You know, your girl might like the opera. You might not like the opera. Your girl might like to go see chick flicks. You might not like to go see chick flicks. Like I said, again, I'm not knocking these sacrifices. I'm just saying that while you are single, take advantage of these things, man. Just don't be in a rush to give up your singleness. It's not a curse. And last and finally, I manage my own eating. Yeah, man. I've seen a lot of people get a little chubby around the waist when they get in a relationship, especially if she or he can cook, you know, or for the fact of, you know, you might have to change your diet because they don't eat this. You know, they don't want to go here. They don't want to go there. You know, one of the main things is, you know, well, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I told you to pick and blah, 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 and where. Yeah, man, you can eat what you want and go where you want to eat and DoorDash and however you see fit. So yeah, man, that was just 10 reasons, benefits, good points to staying single. I'm just trying to point out the fact that singleness is not a curse. It's not bad. And one more time, I'm going to reiterate that I'm not saying that relationships are bad neither. Both of them have their good points. It's just that for some reason, society makes it seem like being single is the worst thing that you can be, when it's really not. This is your guy, Guitar K, single. And even right now, I'm not even trying to mingle. I'm just laying back and embracing my singleness. Be more shit.